stages of grief for Shakon is just denial, 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 and denial. Shakon
On je tak delusional, že si myslel, že prostě Riot mu nějak jako shadow bannul YouTube channel, shadow bannul mu Twitch channel a proto mu klesly views. A což je samozřejmě blbost, že jo. Já třeba přiznám, že jsem prostě nudný streamer, víš co, a mám nudný content, tak proto na mě už nikdo nekouká dneska. Ale aspoň nežiju v deziluzi. Nejvíc toxic hráči na Vestu, hoši. Kdo tam bude, co? Kdo tam bude, co myslíte? Znám asi 2 lidi z toho listu. To mě zajímá, kdo tam ještě na Vestu nejvíc toxic lidi.
The worst out in people, but in some more than others. Here's the list of the most toxic and worst players currently to either play.
Shakon, no. To už jsem viděl o něm něco. A že tam ještě Binette. Rad Irl je toxic, mně nepřišel toxic, když jsem viděl jeho stream párkrát, teda.
Versus
Self-made, to tak ten určitě, no. Ten určitě. Toho nechci vzít do žádného týmu kvůli tomu, že?
Or play with on the EU West server. The first one off the bat is going to be the classic Wufo. Wufo is a semi-amateur pro player who has primarily played in the MENA region, but as of recently he has delved more into the EMEA scene. He is known as the most hated top player on EU West. He's primarily known for just inting and terrorizing people in solo queue when things doesn't go his way, and his notoriety came
když nejde ta hra podle jeho představ, tak inti, jo. To jsou nejlepší hráči,
into fruition when he inted pro players and high-level content creators alike, but he has reached challenger multiple times on various.
To je takzvaný main charakter syndrom, no. Když nejseš nejlepší hráč v té hře, tak prostě nevyhrajou spoluhráči tvoji. Musí prohrát. Pokud nejseš hlavní postava, konec.
Accounts. His adventures are well documented. For example, you got this post by Kesha begging Riot support to ban Wufo, claiming that he is hostaging and terrorizing games until the end of time. In this clip, he would start trolling 3 minutes into the game after dying twice. But this is a common pattern with Wufo, so he would do this multiple times and to many people. So every time he dies in lane or things doesn't go his way,
syndrom jedináčka, ne asi.
You're most likely going to get terrorized. There aren't many people who like
Já jsem ze 3 sourozenců, takže já to nemám.
him. For example, like Drutut or Ratarel, they both hate him.
Plays League all day.
To je dobrý název, syndrom jedináčka, to budu používat od teďka.
Non-stop. Every single person flames him. He got banned on the US for 2 weeks and literally everybody commented on it and was like, thank God, finally. He's trying to play competitive. He's making it nowhere. He plays Warwick top. He loses lane taking summoner spells to win the lane. He cries every game. As a high-low, he isn't. He's Grandmaster in Season 12 by playing 2.5k games a season. His Smurf is stuck D1 and literally everyone hates him. Have you ever seen a single person talk good about Wufo or not trash talk him when they get him in his team?
I was hyped for Wufo. Isn't this guy...
I had Wufo last game.
Jste za týpka, hele. Sibiřan akorát hraje lolko.
Trolled every... Like, who likes...
Nobody likes that guy, that's
How
the
can
point.
you beat that guy? You wake up every day
To je Drutut? Aha, já jsem nikdy neviděl takhle.
and you're like, I'm Wufo.
Yeah, you wake up every day and you're like, I'm Wufo, fuck, I wanna go back to bed.
But how can, like, no... And his team is like, dude, this guy's just typing an essay, like...
You make it sound like Nasus played well. Nasus played awful this game. I mean, he's just getting carried by the Nasus buffs. This guy is awful as a player. You just call that challenger awful? Yeah, okay. Just because you're challenger doesn't mean you're good. That guy is not right in the head. Yeah, he definitely isn't. I mean, he should be permabanned from League forever. It's crazy he's not.
Swaka is top. Wufo will not be happy. Like how?
Je ten, co tam mluvil, tak já nevím, ale tak vím, jaký hlas má Rad Irl teda určitě, to vím. Teďka mluví on, že jo? Teďka mluví Rad.
My dude, it's 14-3. It could be like 20-0. Something happens. He's like Darkwin Jax on cocaine, this guy. You know how Darkwin Jax, he will like find one mistake and he will just tell you about that mistake 50 times. And then Wufo is that guy on crack.
Jako takový týpky potkáš často, no, ale tenhle ten je tím asi známý, no.
Wolf would also chat quite
Ten tím asi
a lot,
prostulej.
which obviously is accompanied with flaming and toxicity. But as you've heard what Ratarel mentioned, the next one on our list is Darkwin Jax.
Can you do something?
I'm on hacker, nice.
Yeah, okay, congrats. Can you have presence in front of me? In front of me, man! Hello? Why are you not in front? Why are you pathing like completely differently? Why are you pathing away from me? Hello?
I don't know.
Is it because you're filled, yeah? What's your mother's name? Hmm? What's your mother's name?
What's my name?
No,
What
your
the
mother's
hell?
name. What's her name?
Why should I tell you?
Because I'm just curious.
I need level 6.
Fucking dirty cancer rat.
You laugh at my losing streak, but what can I do? Tell this Aladdin to fucking double up.
Ty vole. To Zlators? Nevím, co Zlators. Naposledy jsem viděl, že mu hníje ruka, no. Oj.
Darkwin Jax,
Kdo je tohle? Darkwin Jax.
or Stun and Slade, is perhaps one of the most toxic players in League of Legends. You don't have to take it from me, but from Riot Games themselves, who said that the Darkwin Jax account has established the highest harassment score ever recorded on the US server. No player before or since has matched this degree of negative behavior. In a 375 game period from February to April of 2012, Darkwin Jax was reported more than 1,000 times. To this date, no official numbers have ever surpassed this statistic, which makes Darkwin Jax quite literally the most toxic player in League, at least at the time. He has been in the scene since forever and even attempted to go pro once. His team was quite stacked, having the likes of Jensen there, but this pro career was thwarted by Riot as they would permanently ban Darkwin Jax and Jensen. This has
A Jensena zabanovali už v Season 3, no. On se jmenoval Incarnation, ne? Season 3 a pak mu ten ban vypršel a šel pro. Hrál v Americe, vole, 10 let, nebo jak dlouho, až do teďka někdy. A s ním byl v týmu tady ten typek, jo?
a mystery to it because Riot actually pre-approved those players for joining in on a tournament that they were going to play in. However, 24 hours before the tournament actually started, the grim announcement of their punishments would of course be announced. In the announcement, Darkwin Jax was previously permabanned on 3 additional accounts, including the notorious Darkwin Jax account. The Darkwin Jax account established the highest harassment score ever recorded on the EU West server. No player before or since has matched this degree of negative behavior, and Darkwin has threatened to physically injure players, including a Riot employee with the in-game chant. His previous accounts were also replete with a very large number of racist and anti-Semitic insults. If you ask any player about Darkwin Jax above Masters, they'll probably have a story or two about him and his shenanigans. There are many content creators who has voiced out their discontent with Darkwin Jax. You have content creators like Ilsanta, Zombielove and Spearshot, and I mean you can't really blame them as the interactions with him can get ugly.
You're crying all game like a little child.
Of course I will. It's a mental institute EUW. Do you think I'm gonna keep my mental stable here?
As the years elapsed, Darkwin Jax has kind of reformed and evolved himself into another version of himself. From a viewing standpoint, people actually seem to enjoy his content. That's because his flaming and toxicity is creative and gets pretty funny at times. For people who enjoy Tyler 1, they'll pretty much enjoy Darkwin Jax as they are somewhat the same, at least the 2016 Tyler 1. In fact, if you watch Dante's, the Get Candy meme started actually from Darkwin Jax, and from their duos together, he kinda picked it up and popularized it. Personally speaking, I would recommend to give him a chance to watch his content if you enjoy the 2016 Tyler 1 toxicity or
Takže je to funny toxicita, jo?
Solo Renekton only rage compilation. Tiger the Tiger is a special type of guy. He isn't exactly toxic, but a few
Proč to zní jak 2 N-wordy za sebou, vole?
people in Diamond and Low Masters know about the guy. Some people detest having him on your team because he tends to go very off-meta builds on Wukong, and he tends to play it mid lane as well. These builds include going AP Wukong, Crit Kong, or just full lethality Wukong. These builds really give Wukong a sweet one-shot opportunity, but still people just get upset
AP Wukong je dobré, no, ale AD je furt daleko lepší.
over him.
In you know Tiger the Tiger. You see Tiger the Tiger and you're quivering in front of your PC perma and you don't want that. Like that's the problem for you. There is too many famous people. Like even when I play against Wukong, like every casual Wukong. Like imagine you see, I don't know, let's say, who's a good Wukong? I don't know, Skeens, like every pro player. Elyoya, those people, right? If I see them on Wukong, I'm gonna still quiver because I think Tiger the Tiger in my head. He shaped my fear. Tiger the Tiger is my trauma. My PTSD.
It gets to a point where people just even run him down knowing he's in your lobby. His off-meta builds would also cause him to get banned from League. According to this one post, he got burned out on Assassin and AP Wukong because it's hard to climb with it and get high elo. Therefore, he experimented on other champs to find a new build that could burst like the old Wukong did. That didn't work out though, as he ended up dying a lot, which caused him to get a 14-day vacation. It wasn't some insanely off-meta tech, but he would attempt going Fizz mid, full AP Jarvan, Lethality Nocturne, AP Tahm Kench, and full AP Aurelia. Tiger obviously suffered from today's season's meta and as well as Wukong nerfs, but in Season 10 and 9 he was playing in higher elos, even reaching Challenger. If you want to have a full summary of how Tiger the Tiger plays and how he thinks, you could watch Vega V2's cosplay of him, where he
Ne, musíte prostě přizpůsobit, no. Nevím, já jsem taky vždycky hrával, vole, Jarvan, Kha'Zix, Elise, Lee Sin. A dneska to už nejde hrát, celé sezóně to taky nejde hrát, tak jsem hrál Vi, Nocturne, Kha'Zix hlavně taky dost, Brand, ty máš 4 věci, hlavně teda Vi a Kha'Zix, no, to musel přizpůsobit dost. Taky to něco mojí, nebyli většinou moji oblíbení čempové, ale jo, tak toho Kha'Zixa jsem hrál dřív, pravda, ale třeba Brand Jungle je úplně nová věc, jo, a toho jsem se taky musel naučit, no, nakonec mě to začalo i bavit.
He plays an access Tiger the Tiger with Wukong mid. So yeah, if you ever had Tiger on your team or on the enemy team, be feared. I made a whole video about Deathert which you can watch on the top right. However, Deathert is considered one of the most hated players in the league at the moment. He's primarily hated by high elo players mostly, and he previously also went by the name Urinautist. And as mentioned with Darkwin Jax, if you ask any high elo player about Deathert, they're definitely going to have a story or opinion about him. Deathert is mostly known for being extremely toxic, but albeit at times he will also intro grief games by going AFK. Deathert has a unique fame to him where he's discussing with his fellow teammates post games. This is something he usually tends to do, and a lot of funny interactions happen here. And also, if he gets donor walled after the game, then you're most likely going to get a DM from him on Twitter where he flames you. And on Twitter itself, many people have called him out.
Nejlepší ti lidi zase tě po hře přidají a píšou ti ještě do vyspu, vole.
Deathert is also hated by many personalities within the high elo league community, such as Drutut, who voiced his hatred of him.
Bro, Deathert, you're mentally ill if you think I would let you participate in that. You're literally like biggest L9 mafia boss that like 80% of the people in the tournament hate. No point even DMing me, I'm sorry. I don't like you myself even, so... Ouch.
Although Deathert has attempted some form of reform, he hasn't been successful in joining collaboration opportunities.
Deathert.
Which is something he wanted to do, as well, most of these guys just hate him. He has a lot of funny moments and also some real ones, such as this one time when Asab had a post-game discussion with him, but it quickly turned into a therapy session. And if a game goes bad, Deathert attempts to get people to join the Discord call.
Yeah. Jsi stuck ugly irlo man, virgin like you. You are cancer retarded. You are fucking support player. Support player like cancer.
And there you would see humorous interactions, or simply you will see some wholesome interactions where he just becomes friends with the guy who just entered him.
Make an agreement that you are not gonna fucking scream like that. Holy fuck, you sound cancerous. Shut the fuck up.
Most dog in the EU, like, oh, we know, like, why the fuck are you typing like a dog? Tell me, like, you are legit, like, oh, like 10 players on this game, like 8 of us is talking like you are fucking idiot and delusional dog. Like, why are you still typing? Why are you so mad? Tell me.
But in most cases, all hell may let loose. Binette is another OTP player doing some niche tank. He is a French bard top player, with the inception of the Janna top meta that we had a while back, which was just where Janna or another enchanter pick went top lane, got to level 2 or 3, and then just abandoned the lane and fully followed their jungler for the rest of the game. This would cause the team to always have a mana advantage when invading or taking camps, which could be very oppressive. The enemy top laner would obviously just be stuck playing
Za to, že si s náma povídáš.
Díky. A jakože teď jsem nepřežil tvoji zprávu, sorry. Na druhou stranu nevím, co bych na to řekl.
for the rest of the
Děkuju, Lilith, děkuju.
game. This playstyle was incredibly unfun to play against, especially for a top laner since you literally don't have a laner, and you cannot do anything about it. You can't have a Camille top running around with a jungler for the rest of the game, because these champions are...
Byla tak divná meta s tou Jannou, která roamovala všude po mapě a hrála Smite a pustila top lane prostě free. Já nevím, já ani nevím, proč to fungovalo, a tady to hrál by the way Dreedy, no, což je český hráč, který to hrál v Barceloně, asi 2 roky dozadu to bylo, že? Já ani nevím, proč to fungovalo vlastně, protože díky tomu vyhrál bot a mid, a to bylo irrelevantní, asi protože na Ornovi mít víc goldů bylo k ničemu. Asi, nevím.
Require gold to be activated. Now this meta would eventually come to cease due to
Já
nerfs,
už si to ani nepamatuju, ale asi to je dobře.
Binette continued this playstyle with Bard top. This champion is after all kinda designed to just roam frequently, especially with the chimes Bard get. Since this playstyle is not meta anymore and is nerfed, Binette is not exactly someone you want on your team, and many see this as griefing, because at the end of the day, you're gonna have to deal with a 3-item top laner at some point. In a video where Vega V2 exposed this
To právě, to je takový playstyle, že ty musíš hrát podle toho, jak on hraje. Ty nehraješ klasickou hru a ty hraješ prostě s bardem, který na tebe forcuje ganky a furt tě nutí dělat nějaký, já nevím, invady do jungle a něco a musíš se přizpůsobovat ty jemu, no, k tomu jeho debilnímu playstyle, což je taky náhodou, no. A pak ti z toho přijde topař, který zničil 2 turety a má 3 itemy, je level 16, vole, a dává všem one-shoty, no.
The scripter unrelated to Binette, he would share his thoughts on Binette.
Let's see what happens here when he gets 4-manned by Binette, another player that should be banned.
And V2 would further explain why he hates such a playstyle. I want to ban Binette because he's perma-trolling and excusing it as a strategy. It's not a strategy to force your team from a level 1 to play your way regardless of...
Tady to někdo píše přesně, no. Není to strategie, abyste o levelu 1 hráli prostě úplně jinou hru, než prostě hraješ dosud. Tak to je, no.
Draft and give enemy Camille 5 plates and 2 items. A Twitter user would say that he plays to entertain his viewers during his stream. Just dodge if you meet him. It's useless to think he will change. But Vega V2 would just say entertaining your viewers in a 5v5 game over winning is trolling. Binette isn't exactly a toxic player, but a person who is likely to stir up some heat in the lobby chat. Shakon is perhaps...
Jako chápu, Shakon je extrémně toxic třeba. Jako ten Binette není toxic, ale ten jeho playstyle hrát s tím, víš co, když jsi do toho nucený. Jako třeba když hraješ jungly a jako asi když roamuješ s tím Bardem, takhle z pohledu junglera by to asi nebylo špatný, když ve dvou chodíte po mapě a zabijíte bota mid a invadíte jungle. To je asi docela v pohodě strategie.
Shakon is perhaps one of the most...
Tenhle ten je asi nejvíc toxic z těch všech, co tady jsou.
...delusional players out there. His lore has been covered extensively by other YouTubers, so we won't get much in depth.
Vidíte, co píše, jo? Vidíte to, co tady píše.
Shakon started playing League in the early history of League, and he also started out well in the YouTube sphere, getting a lot of views, but eventually he became incredibly toxic. His flame, unlike Deathard or Darkwin is just pure hatred and spiteful. His toxicity also gets incredibly grim, calling for his teammates to cease existence or wanting to injure them. And he also has intense hatred for Riot.
Nebyl Dreedy docela toxic? Já myslím, že ne, nikdy jsem o tom neslyšel. Ale on skončil kariéru a nevím proč už teda, no.
Games. He had none of the redeeming or charismatic qualities that other toxic personalities had, such as Tyler 1, which made these personalities entertaining or funny. The 5 stages of grief for Shakon is just denial, 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 and denial. Shakon
On je tak delusional, že si myslel, že prostě Riot mu nějak jako shadow bannul YouTube channel, shadow bannul mu Twitch channel a proto mu klesly views. A což je samozřejmě blbost, že jo. Všecko prostě declineuje, se vším nesouhlasí a všechno může Riot, který ho nemá rád. Já třeba přiznám, že jsem prostě nudný streamer, víš co, a mám nudný content, tak proto na mě už nikdo nekouká dneska. Ale aspoň nežiju v deziluzi.
challenger in the early stages of League, but never managed to reach that rank later again. Shakon would also protest against Riot at times, where he would just run down on accounts and hide their usernames to avoid getting target banned by Riot employees. But still, this was a form of protest for him. His delusion is widespread on his social channels. For example, this one time...
Jak tam má tohleto, ne? No prostě má zakrytý jména, že jo?
He talked about a Riot employee who was target banning his accounts on YouTube for no reason and he has done nothing wrong. This of course was a running narrative theme for Shakon, but all of his claims were refuted. This was because the game he got banned for initially, it was shown that he was clearly going AFK in the games, but he was still there moving around and letting his teammates know that he was just around, just watching them scream in agony. With his disillusionment,
ten smite roztáhlej zase přes ty jména.
Shakon's reputation was ruined, to say the least, as many people started discussing him on Reddit and other social medias, and that would also ruin the prospective viewer base that he could have gotten. His decline was on an extreme slope and his viewership fell down extremely much, from having hundreds of thousands of views to barely breaking 20,000 views at times. And the crazy thing is about his low views is that he would actually just accuse YouTube of deleting views. Shakon is now just an echo chamber of a once greater man. We saved the best for last, right? Or maybe...
No, já jsem prostě někde viděl, že z toho blame Riot, no, že Riot mu shadow bannul všechny účty a nemá zhlédnutí kvůli tomu. Jak by ti mohl Riot na Twitchi a na YouTube dát shadow ban?
In this case, the worst for last. When it comes to Apocalypse, he makes Tyler 1 look like Jesus. Apocalypse is known as one of the most unhinged people League community has ever seen. We'll cover him in another video in more detail, but for the purposes for this one, I'll give you a short summary. Apocalypse started playing somewhere around 2015, but already 1 year and 3 months into playing League, he reached Challenger on New West. He would also manage to subsequently get high win-loss ratios on other accounts, which usually consisted of 70% win rates. However, he wouldn't exactly be an angel in these games. His toxicity was unprecedented and a kind you would probably never experience in League. For example, he would tell you that he will break your face, that you're a stick warrior, throw because around.
Jak jsi říkal Michael, vymlátím ti zuby a naplivu tě do huby, nebo jak něco, nebo do očí, ne? Mi říkal.
Okay, I think you get the idea, but the screenshot speaks for themselves, really. Remember, this guy was a part of the infamous club L9 among Obsessed, RL, Selfmade, and of course Apple. Apocalypse would also...
Proč těch L9 klubech, nebo co to je? Proč tam jsou vždycky nejvíc toxic kretení, vole?
Among Obsessed,
nevím, jestli je Obsessed toxic, to nějak nevím. RL teda toxic není, uznávám, nebo aspoň myslím.
RL, Selfmade.
Ale o Selfmadeovi to říká úplně každý, no. A jsem si, že viděl párkrát, tak mega toxic je, no, takže. Ditch L9 znamená toxic? A mně se strašně líbí, ironicky líbí. jak já nevím, jak se strašně považují za bohy. Jak si myslí, jako mají moc prostě obrovskou, no. Lidi prostě naintějí hru třeba, protože chcou, abys prohrál.
And of course to Apple. Apocalypse would also have a Discord server that was notorious for a lot of things, among them spreading CP. In this Discord server, he would also participate in accessing hacked household cameras and provoke the people by shouting in the mic. He first gained popularity in a disco hit video called League of Children, the most racist summoner. I mean, geez, just look at the username. Subsequently, he would be featured in an infamous League players video by League Recap in less than a year. He would also over the years develop a cult following where most people would just commonly say that they are L9 fanboys, or a more defined term, Apple fanboys. Regardless of his extreme toxicity, he somehow managed to mix a dose of charisma and humor into this toxicity, which caused him to gain that cult following in the first place. People would commonly try to replicate his common sayings, and his fans
would... psal, mám bílou barvu oblečení, nemám rád černou. A tady předtím týpek psal, že je barevnej, no.
Cult following in the first place. People would commonly try to replicate his common sayings, and his fans would also attempt to replicate his behavior and brand, so to speak. This guy has literally zero redeeming qualities. I don't know, man, some of the ridiculous shit he says in the chat cracks me up. The 8-minute mark had me rolling. Honestly, even though it's toxic, that shit was so fucking original from the typical I hope your family gets cancer, I fuck your mother flame. I shouldn't be laughing, but really caught me out by surprise. At one point, Elders got DM'd by Apocalypse back in 2018. I'm being put in an absolutely terrible situation while streaming. The US player Apocalypse is messaging me some seriously concerning mental illness things and essentially telling me to coach him or he'll commit damage to his body. Just now I've been sent a photo of actual him damaging his body. For those wondering, the photo...
Cože? Poslal LSovi, vole, fotky, jak si poškozuje tělo, jo. Pokud mu nedá coaching.
Has a special message inside of that isn't Photoshop, so that he assures me it's real. It's not a random photo from the internet. Apocalypse also gained fame by doing with Red RL in the early days where they had fun with some old running it down style type of League of Legends. Nevertheless, Apocalypse made a name for himself as said, and he continued gaining the reputation of also being a great player. He would become the world's best
další se měl zatím jménem L9, že? Tady, vole.
And he continued gaining
Jsem toxic dementi, co se bíhají hry, vole.
Getting the reputation of also being a great player. He would become the world's best Mordekaiser player pre-rework, which is perhaps the best champion that Riot got it with a rework. So rest in peace, Mordekaiser, man. But after Mordekaiser got reworked, Apocalypse lost interest in playing him and transitioned to support, and more specifically played Janna. He would actually get rank 1 on the US at some point, only playing Janna. A lot of people speculate what happened to Apocalypse and whether he used Talon E out of his balcony IRL or not, but the fact of the matter is that Apocalypse is well and alive. He is on this list because he's still active, consistently hovering Challenger 900 LP in September before decaying down to Diamond. In addition, he seems to be less toxic than before in solo queue just because of how increasingly strict Riot has become. His summoner names do speak for themselves, such as
Doanel in any, Doanel Bin Laden, Spare Cramps, co to je Cramps, vole? Zoe Panties, Raw Meat, Tight Little Girl, what the hell, kámo?
Annie or Tight Little Girl or Zoe Bin Laden, you get the idea. However, his
Sperma krámy to jsou, jo.
Socials have seemed to take in some inactivity and some of them have even banned, but now he goes under the Twitch ID Delirium Vex, but a stream hasn't happened for a good few months. But as said, we'll get to Apocalypse down the road in a full documentary type of video, which is exactly why you should subscribe. Stay tuned for it. And obviously we got an honorable mention. I'm gonna put BDS Gens. If you know BDS Gens, that's all I gotta say. Shout out to my homie Low Masters, and yeah, we'll leave it at that. If you like the video, make sure to subscribe, support me on my page.
To už dobrý, jo. Zkusím si Aramku s tou novou mapou. Na PBE jsem to hrál, no, na PBE. Nějaký ten týden dozadu. A možná bych ho dát znova zítra, no. Asi jo, asi zítra dáme. Proč ne? Já už jsem vypl lolko teďka, už jsem to nechci zapínat. No, dobré video.